There's only one thing that's running through my soul, and that is
Hey. Dan, what you doing?
Dance.
I see. Look, that new intro got y'all lit. No, welcome to Crimson Dynasty. My name is Sishi. I'm the host here. We are one of the shows here on the Bama Standard Network, which I know a lot of you are familiar with. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any content. Like I said, my name is Sishi. I'm the host here, but we have two awesome co-hosts, Dan James IV, who can't stay still, probably trying to find some basketball too in the background. He's the lead recruiting analyst here on the Bama Standard Network. And then we also have JB. He has another show, a really hot show that airs every Sunday night. So he is not a new face to the network as well. So we have really good takes here. Of course, this is a bye week, so we're not going to do a full-on breakdown of our next matchup with LSU, but we will dive deep into that because we kind of want to look at some of the areas of success that we had against Missouri and then certain things that we need to kind of plan for in terms of LSU. Now, before we jump right in, I do want to first give a shout out to one of our sponsors, one of our newer sponsors, Lambstone Company. So if you've been looking to add a natural stone in or around your home, don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Lambstone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. They're located in Oneonta, Alabama, and they're one of the oldest and most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today and tell them that we sent you by using promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off your first order. So we do have their website listed below in the banner. Be sure to hit them up if you have any questions. So shout out to them. Now, if you are watching us on X right now, we may be live there as well. Be sure to head over to our YouTube channel and search the Bama Standard and go ahead and subscribe. So be sure to do that because I know I saw yesterday we were streaming there and I saw a lot of people watching. So be sure to hit up our YouTube as well. We do want you all to be engaged in and so we are live there as well. Okay, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe, or you can come back later and subscribe. And then also be sure to be in our live chat tonight because we like to engage with the audience. We will have a Q&A segment towards the end. So go ahead and start adding your comments in and then we'll get to them later on. So let's jump right in. We wanted to touch on recruiting news because there's been some questions floating around regarding how Alabama is faring in terms of recruiting, you know, given the two losses that we've had, but then of course, certain notable wins that we've had as well. If those of you who remember, when we played Georgia, we had over 120 recruits at the game. And it's also been announced that when we play LSU, they're anticipating over 100 recruits there as well. So this is going to be it's going to be huge. And there were a few names that I've been kind of tracking, you know, a few in particular that are from Alabama, and our names are there in the list, but I'm sure, you know, the losses that we've had, it's probably impacting it to some degree. So I know that JB and I know Dan, y'all are familiar with the latest commits that we've had in terms of Alabama. So the defensive end class of 2025, Cavante Henry out of California, and then also that tight end 2025, Marshall Pritchett out of the state of Georgia. And that's a huge win because he's another one that we got out of Georgia. Of course, Caleb Odom, but he's a wide receiver now. I want to mention a few names to y'all, and I want to get your takes on them. One in particular, now, I'm not sure as far as Alabama, how he's feeling it. What I'm hearing is that, you know, Michigan has kind of thrown everything, $5 million to him as far as NIL. But Bryce Underwood, he's a class of 2025 quarterback. And, you know, I'm not sure if we're really pursuing him per se, but I wanted to mention him because he's going to be at the game when we play LSU. And so I'm sure that may kind of, you know, play into like how well LSU does versus how Alabama does. You know, Michigan, they can throw 5 million at them, but at the same time, what does that really mean if they're not going to be doing anything? Let's be honest, they're imploding right now. So keep that in the back of your mind. But a couple other guys. So there's one guy, class of 2026, Nolan Wilson. He's a defensive end from Mississippi. He was recently in Tuscaloosa, and he's been heavily recruited by Freddie Roach, and he's also considering Texas A&M and LSU. There's a class of 2026 running back, Jamichael Jones. He's from Pike Road, Alabama, and he's also being heavily pursued by Ohio State and Tennessee. So that's another one. I know we have a couple other running backs that are coming in. So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We have another defensive end, Jamarian Matthews. He's out of Harvest, Alabama, and we recently made him an offer, and he's also considering Penn State and Ole Miss. I see you lighting up over there. So.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. You know what? His name keeps coming up. So before I mention any others, what's your take on him so far? So he's a defensive end. How does that mesh well with what you're seeing so far with Kane Womack?
Man, listen, I tell everybody, y'all go watch Matthews' film, man. This guy, his get off is so elite already. I watched this film, I'm like, wow, so don't get caught up in the rankings just yet, because he's a 2026 kid. He hasn't been to any camps or anything yet, so not a whole lot of eyes are on him. But, man, turn on the tape and watch this guy's film.
Yeah.
This guy is explosive, very, very explosive off the edge. And I'm talking about, man, I haven't seen it since, I'm not saying he is, but, man, Will Anderson.
Yeah. I was thinking about him. Yeah.
Lightning off of the ball, man. I'm very impressed. Yeah, he's gonna be trouble. I like him. He's probably my favorite recruit already in the class.
Yeah. He's also considering
disrupt and affect the passer. He playing the most important position in football right now outside of quarterback. That's an edge guy.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. No, I like that. Did you have any thoughts so far, or do you want me to? I can name a couple others, and then because I want to really with you, JB, I want to get your take more so on our schemes that we have so far, and then what do you see kind of meshing well with, especially these offensive guys? We have two others, both in the class of 2026. So it's offensive guard Hudson Parliament. This guy is from South Dakota, and it's being said that our O-line coach Kaplovic, that he's made a really good impression on him. So it sounds like he's shown a lot of interest. But there's one other guy, and I think it would be awesome if we could get him, class of 2026 offensive tackle Jackson Cantwell out of Missouri. This guy is 6'7", 300 pounds. He's the number one offensive tackle in the nation. He was in Tuscaloosa this past weekend when we played Missouri. So out of the guys that I've named so far, JB, any of them in particular that stand out to you? And then are there any other names that you're kind of searching for?
I know you just mentioned the offensive line, the guys for 2026. I think we need to lock those guys in because that's very important for your offense. You got to build. We got Keelan Russell coming in. Hopefully we can keep him locked in. Bryce Underwood's in that same class. They got him ranked ahead of Keelan, but I like Russell. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I really like Russell. I think he's the guy. So, I mean, and, Bryce Underwood, everybody's after him. He's got the target, the number one quarterback, number one recruit in the class. So everybody's going to be after him. But I really like Russell. But as far as those guys in 2026, I really don't like to look too far ahead. But if we locked in on some guys, especially on that O-line, we got to go ahead and get them. What you say the guy was 6'7", 300 pounds?
6'7", 300, dude.
Oh.
Man, child.
Yeah,
I mean, he's about 16 years old if he's in class 2026.
Like, what they feeding him? Just big.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important, CC, and then to get that offensive line locked in
early. Yeah, you want to start with the offensive line early. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I also see from Justin, other schools are coming at London Simmons hard with money, but he doesn't care about money. He's locked in and wants Freddie Rose to develop him. And see, that's the thing too that we talk about here sometimes is, you have these different teams where they're basically buying players. But look at Florida State. How far has that gotten them? I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it just is what it is. Like, you got to call a spade a spade. I mean, don't you want students to come to your school and play because of the tradition? Like, making the money, of course, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it means so much more to go somewhere where there's pride, right? Like, where that you're going to be developed. Why go to Michigan? Yeah, they paying you $5 million over 3 years, but at the same time, what is that going to look like if you're getting L's every other weekend? You know what I'm saying? So they got it. And I mean, y'all know I like to go in, and I'm gonna try to play it cool tonight. But I'm just saying, like, putting everything in perspective. They really have to consider that. Now, Dan, I'll ask you as well. So, JB and I were talking about the offensive guys, and the reason why I wanted to mention them towards the end is because it's been already said that our class of 2025, as far as how we're going to look on our O-line, we're going to be like something to reckon with. And so we can bring in the guys behind the 2025 class, these 2026. We still have Ayanada that's here, right? And that just came in, so we already have certain guys that are here now. But what does this mean to you? I mean, we have new coaches, and then you have Kaplovic. Like, do you feel like it's something that he's doing kind of behind the scenes that maybe he's not getting a lot of credit for, kind of, tweaking some things where maybe we can see some more discipline towards the end of the season?
Definitely. That's what Alabama's been built on, the offensive line. No team has had more success in the NFL draft than us over the last 15 years, Mm-hmm. So, we build on the offensive line because, hey, you got to have the guys to protect your quarterback and to keep these big defensive lines that have been bought elsewhere off your quarterback and your running back. So, yeah, you definitely want to build with the offensive line, and just, we're getting the elite of the elite. We was talking about last night, we want to try to secure 2 elite offensive tackles. It's been a while. We were trying to name the last time we had that. We can't. It was Jonah Williams, Cam Robinson. We had Leatherwood and what's his name? His name went to what's his name? The tackle. Well, I can't remember, but I don't got old. But yeah, you want to secure the the left side and the right side, because we usually struggle with one or the other. So anytime Jackson Cantwell, he is the elite of the elite. I'm talking, he's the best offensive, and I think this year we have the best offensive lineman. But he's an interior guy. We got the best offensive lineman committed in the class this year, and that's Michael Carroll. I mean, he's best. It's him. Then there's a little gap. Then there's everybody else. So but I project him at left or right guard on the interior. But he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But yes, like another name I look at, Zyke Hilton. He was a former Alabama commit. We're looking to reel him back in. So I like where we're sitting with him right now. But offensive line is going to be an early focus as far as the 2026 class.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I mean, it's going to be all on the line when we play LSU. They're gonna a lot of these guys are gonna be there. So, we gotta go in, we gotta play hard. We gotta do to them what we should have done to Tennessee, to be honest. But we ain't gonna go there. But one thing that came up is, we talk a lot about offense, but just looking at our defense and how we've been able to improve since our game against South Carolina, because it was a lot of us that were like, okay, well, Mac, it might be time to wheel you on back down to South Alabama if you're doing stuff like that, and so I kind of want to look into the changes, right? Because it's crazy how quickly he's made some certain changes, and it makes me wonder, like, dude, you already kind of knew why you didn't do this sooner. Like I was just kind of questioning, where has this been all along? But maybe that's what was needed, is kind of like that fire under him. So, what I noticed is that in our game against Missouri, the defense played great, right? Like, and even against Tennessee, the defense carried that game, and we just were not productive on offense. And, it was just poor play calling, of course. And then Milroe that kind of, missed some guys, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Now, I know a lot of it had to do with, everyone complains about that 4-2-5 base scheme. And my thing is like, well, Coach Saban, he ran that from time to time. It's just, for what I was starting to pick up on, is that it seemed like Womack sometimes didn't know when that worked and when it didn't. And it was kind of throwing us off, because he couldn't make adjustments. But it's, you start to notice when he puts that extra linebacker in there, or as the safety up, then it's, you see the improvements as far as stopping the run. And so I wanted to get y'all's takes on this. How do you feel, as far as Alabama, where we are right now in terms of defense? Because there was a comment made by Brian Kelly, of course, LSU's head coach, after they lost to Texas A&M. And I'm going to quote what he said word for word. He's been in his feelings just like he was when they lost against USC. But this is what he said. He said, he told a reporter, if he were to offer advice to an offense preparing to face the LSU defense, he would tell them to simply run the quarterback. it wasn't the RPOs as much as it was the quarterback run game. And what he's referring to is Texas A&M backup quarterback Reed, who got put in the game. First string was benched in that game, and Reed, he lit them up. Like, he literally ran circles around them, and they just couldn't stop him. And so essentially that should be very well part of our game plan. I mean, if any game you're going to run, Miro, this is the game. But like we just saw, and we're going to get into that next, but like we just saw, we have to make sure our running backs getting the ball. Milroe can't ball hawk. We got to spread it out to, Miller and Haynes. But before we move on to the run game, I want to get y'all's takes really quickly. JB, I'll start with you. What improvements have you seen on defense to where we've almost seen like a complete turnaround from, you look at the second half of the Georgia game, the Vandy game, and South Carolina to the Tennessee and Missouri game? What do you think those changes were?
Well, you know what they say, what makes a great coach is how well he can make adjustments. And Kane Womack has made some adjustments, not running the 4-2-5 the whole game, knowing when to come out of it, knowing when to bring the safeties up, put the extra line back in. So it's been nice to see, and it seems like the O-line has improved. They played pretty well against Missouri, got some pressure. Bray Hubbard comes in, steps up, and makes an impact. And I just like it's an uptrend. I saw it in the Tennessee game. Even though we lost that game, we held them to 0 points first half, got 3 takeaways. We just couldn't capitalize, like you mentioned. And they've been playing good ball. So I don't see why they couldn't go out next week and do the same at LSU. I don't see why. I mean, the communication seems to be better. I want to point this out too. Malachi Moore was doing a lot of communicating with Bray Hubbard during that game. I was at the game and kind of watching the back end, and they were doing a lot of communicating. And it seems like after a play happened, he would go talk to him, pat him on the head, and it kind of got some kind of, what you would say, they got some camaraderie going on. Yeah. It seems a little better. A lot of communicating. So I think that may be a little difference too. Maybe they're communicating better. But I like what I'm seeing, and I trust Kane Womack to get it together. Like we mentioned, the 4-2-5, his daddy kind of implemented this defense. He kind of created it. He knows the ins and outs. It's all about making adjustments if it's going to work.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just, you think about the film study, right? And they focus so much on the players when it comes to film study. But my thing is, well, the coaches as well, because if you're sitting there and you're watching the film of your opponent and you see that they're run heavy, or you see that they have, a dual threat quarterback, I mean, to me, the plays that you draw up is going to be dependent on, like, it's not going to be the exact same, like you said, week after week. I mean, every opponent that you're playing, especially in the SEC, you better believe that they're going to have some form of a run game, whatever that looks like. So I'm glad to see these positive changes. I'm proud of our defense. I think we're getting back to that standard, and I'm proud of them to make such a quick change. You know what I mean? To make that change so quickly, because let everybody tell it, we were down and out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, we still here. I don't know what y'all thought, but Dan, I want to get your take. Now, how do you feel in terms of defense? Do you share the same sentiment as JB, or what changes have you seen where you're like, okay, you know what? This is the Alabama that I remember.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something seriously, but not really seriously. What the change is?
Yeah.
Daddy Womack put Bill behind. Y'all notice he's standing a little closer on the sideline. I think Daddy Womack is getting a little more involved.
He like, no, maybe come out there.
Hey man, I'm talking about Daddy got the fire. and Daddy's very vocal and visual on the sideline. So, he said, hey, you're not going to be out there making me look bad.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think I don't want to put it on one person, but man, Bray Hubbard has made a huge change. Sometimes that happens, like when we installed Jaden Roberts into the offensive line, how the offensive line took off. Sometimes it takes a guy like that to put the right pieces together, to bring it all together. And I think Bray Hubbard, with his versatility and ability to cover his range of motion, and his headiness, has allowed us to be what we need to be as far as the defensive unit. He has sideline to sideline range because he's long, he's physical, he's great in the run fit, he's great in coverage. He knows what to do, he's not lost. So, when you have somebody, and he's just really learning the position, but he's a quarterback. He understands the game, So, you kind of have a lot of success when you put a quarterback at safety. And he has allowed us to be able to be a true 4-2-5 defense. He's allowed Malachi to move back into the box where he's more comfortable, play a little bit more in the box. So Bray Hubbard and Daddy Womack been the biggest difference I've seen.
Daddy Womack, look, and he ain't playing no games. And honestly, I don't blame him because he probably heard some of the, the uproar from the fan base. Like, Womack, you can go right back down there to South Alabama. He's like, wait a minute now, you ain't gonna have me up here looking bad. So I'm glad to see that. I feel like on a defensive side, of course, Nick Saban is still there. I believe it's more like a mentor type role, but it's good to see that. And you just see a different fire on the sideline. And Bray Hubbard, he seems like almost like that glue that was needed to kind of bring things together. So I'm excited to see, what we continue to do on defense. But let's shift a little bit to offense, particularly the run game. Now, we've been saying on this entire network, even before the season started, that the kid's going to be running the ball. Like, it's not rocket science. I don't care how good Milroe is. You have the two best running backs in the nation and you ain't running them. Like, you literally cannot justify that. Like, you literally cannot make sense of that. And so I was kind of thinking about some of our former running backs, because of course we have a lot of greats, right, from Alabama in certain games. And so I of course I can remember all of them, but I made a table just of like the biggest games, even when it was still the BCS, but all within Coach Saban's tenure, and I'm like, okay, well, there's something to it, because the years that we won the national championship, of course, 2009, we played Texas in the Natty. Mark Ingram, he had 3 touchdowns, right? I mean, he just had a huge game, and he had almost 1,700 rushing yards in that season. You have Trent Richardson, the 2011 national championship, 1,700 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. And what I'm noticing with all of them, they had at least 100 rushing yards each in the game. So you have Eddie Lacy, the 2012 national championship, 1,300 rushing yards, over like there's literally, like, you can literally see the commonality. So I'm just like, okay, coaches, I know that you're new to Alabama, but we're not new to this. Like, this is the standard. You look at 2013, TJ Yeldon in the Sugar Bowl, Derrick Henry in the SEC. I mean, you just look at, literally run down the list: Damian Harris, Bo Scarborough, like literally name after name, Najee Harris, B-Rob, Jahmyr Gibson, 2022 in the Cotton Bowl. Like, you look at the notable games, all of these were in bowl games for the most part, or in national championship games, and they all hit at least about that 800 to 1,000, if not more, rushing yards. So that's what I want to see, because I don't understand how, as an offensive coordinator, you don't understand it. Because if Nick Sheridan doesn't get that, Kalen DeBoer should understand it. And the only reason why I could see they've waited this long is because on the West Coast with DeBoer and Washington or whatever, they're not as used to, I guess the run game is more pass heavy there, but still you should know the game. And so I believe that that's going to be one of the keys for Alabama against LSU. And next week, we're going to dive a little bit more deeper, but it really helps you establish control and really dominate time of possession, because literally what we should be doing to other teams, they're doing to us. And so I want to get y'all's takes on this. When you think about our previous games, right, whether it was a national championship or a bowl game or a regular season game, what running backs stood out to you the most as far as just the season that they had, and why? Like, why do you feel like it's such an important thing to have a huge presence from the running backs, and not just a quarterback who can run well, but the actual running backs? And Dan, I'm going to start with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely. You think about, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, those Heisman years, they put the team on their back.
Yep.
Trent Richardson, we got workhorse running back. We got guys that are built for this, that train for this, you know what I'm saying? And you got to get them touches, especially when the offense is struggling or late in the game. You got to be, and that really was the difference this week with Justice Haynes. You ran the ball in the second half.
Yep.
You turn around and give the ball to the running back. It's just that simple. A lot more pistol formation. Let's get down here with these horses that we have. Even Richard Young, we got guys that are capable. All you got to do, they might not be able to pass, block, pass pro and everything, but one thing they can do, you let them do that. You let them run the ball. So, you definitely want to get guys, because those are body blows early in the game. You how many times do you think that safety would come up and try to hit Justice Haynes like that? You know what I'm saying? You do that early in the game, you hit him, hit him in the mouth. Later on in the game, when they get jelly leg, it's gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
And you even think we can't have success when we run the ball late in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you think about it, it's not a lack of ability from Justice side. It was more so play calling and maybe certain plays that Milroe decided to run on that he should have given the ball to a running back, or potentially even the O-line not creating those lanes for them. So it was kind of a three-headed, monster in a sense that may have been preventing them to, but if I remember correctly, in our game against Missouri, we had over 200 rushing yards, right? And maybe that's the first time this entire season. Do y'all know?
I think so.
Maybe.
That's crazy. I mean, and that's new. That's new to Alabama. Maybe before our time, I don't know, but that's new to Alabama because normally, that's a huge part of the game, right?
South Florida.
South Florida, yeah. South Florida, we ran the ball well.
It's been that long?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. If we want to win a national championship this year, we have to run them. And then we even saw I think Daniel Hill got in the game as well against Missouri. So, and that's how it should be. They need to get these valuable reps. So, but JB, what are your thoughts? Are there any specific running backs from our former years, even within just a Saban era, and any reason as to why you think we're just now seeing Justice and Jam and the other running backs get their hands on the ball?
I'm gonna pick one guy. Recently, Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Najee was running and catching the ball out of the backfield. He had a spectacular season that 2020 championship year. Y'all remember that one game he had 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Najee was the ultimate, do it all back. You know what I'm saying? But now we got 2 guys. And I think Justice and Jam both can play all 3 downs. No need. You can switch them out. We've all seen Jam Miller catch that wheel route multiple times this season, and nobody can cover him on that wheel route. We've seen Justice Haynes catch a running back screen. But all in all, like you say, getting that pistol, like you said, Dan, we don't have to get in the I formation. We can get in that pistol, or we can run some 2 backs. Let Jalen line up in shotgun with a back on this side and a back on that side, and let's see what happens. Let's see some fake calling, because you can fake hand to one, you can hand off to the other. It's so much you can do with that 2 back, and then you put you a tight end, or you can follow the tight end, or it's so much. I want to see them work the backs more. I know they talk about the wide receivers need more touches. I think the backs need more touches. I always say they need about 15 touches each.
Yeah.
Yes. They only get about 6 or 7 touches. And then now they had more last game because we ran the ball effectively. We got 7 yards a carry. So if we get 6 and 7 yards a carry, we can run the ball 45 times like we used to do. But if we only get 2 and 3 yards, we can't run the ball because you'll be stuck in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and that's not good.
And didn't we used to do that, having those 2 backs? Was it Mark and Trent, or was it Trent and Eddie Lacy when we did that? Because we used to see that pretty often, right?
We did used to see that back in the
it was one of those pairs that we used to see, and I'm just and every time we had so much success because you wear down their defense to the point where when you are about to throw the ball, Eddie Lacy and TJ Yeldon. Okay, so that would have been that 2012, 2013-ish time frame. Yeah. But see, that's the thing. You wear down the defense, so then you can bust out a long pass and, spread it out to the different receivers. But we're always playing from behind. Hopefully this was an eye-opener for our coaches. I mean, it's duh, you should have been doing that. I was saying 2 years ago that Jam Miller was that guy. Literally every time he's getting on that field, he's easily getting 6 to 8 yards. So it logically doesn't make sense. And then you see what Justice Haynes can do. He's been able to do that. Y'all just weren't giving him the freaking ball. So look, there's no excuses. And if we see that mess again, we got to do something about that. Because No more L's for us. I know them Auburn fans that's in the chat right now. Y'all are used to those L's, but we're not. Like, no, we're not doing that over here. Now, before we segue a little bit into our next discussion, because we kind of want to talk about our bye-week strategy and what we should be focused on, I do want to give a shout out to one of our other sponsors, whitwillsports.com. We always tell you, go ahead, hold it up. We always tell you that your game day is not the same without your title towel. Visit whitwillsports.com. We have their website below in the banner, and use the promo code standard for an exclusive discount. Like I told you, I need to get mine, but I have a custom order, so maybe I need to contact them directly. If y'all are in the chat, Whitwill, go ahead and hit me up, because I want something like custom made, bedazzled, like it has to stand out. So I need my order. But yeah, be sure to hit them up and let them know if you have any questions regarding any custom orders. Now, let's shift a little bit into our bye-week strategy. Okay, so we're coming off of a huge win against Missouri. Things happen the way they did. People want to say, well, y'all, blew them out because Cook, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. We still won. We still blew them out. So I want to look into because we're going to do more of a breakdown next week, but specifically for bye week, what should we be focused on? And so in terms of, and I'm going to pose that question to the live chat as well. What do you all feel like on offense and defense we should be focused on in terms of the coaches and the players? Now, I would say for Milroe, and not just Milroe, whoever we put in at quarterback, but we can assume it'll be Milroe. My biggest thing is limiting turnovers, not being in that pocket too long, and then better decision making, because what I'm noticing is that you'll tend to see him scramble. I know some of it's on the O-line, but some of it as well, it makes me question sometimes Milroe's vision, because you'll have a wide open receiver somewhere. You have these defensive ends running at you, and it's almost as if he can't see anything. And so my biggest thing right now, especially for the quarterback, is ball security, limiting turnovers, improving his decision making. I mean, these are fundamentals that really should already be ingrained for the most part, but we know for this particular game, we saw the success that Texas A&M had as far as Reed being able to run all over them. And so I want to make sure that we do have those QB design runs, but that doesn't mean take away from running the ball in terms of our running backs. Like, we need to have a set amount of runs for Milroe, but Jam and Justice, they got to eat, and they better eat, because this is going to be a huge game for them, and we don't need the coaches interfering with their numbers, because they got to go to the draft at some point as well. So as far as the run game, and I want to get y'all's takes in a second, but as far as the run game, my biggest thing is, like I said, QB design runs, particularly for the quarterback. But like you said earlier, JB, at least 13 to 15 carries each between Justice and Jam each. So that has to happen. Now, one thing as well, we need to be able to see, because one thing that I noticed, and I was looking at the numbers, we actually have more rushing yards per game, and we're averaging more yards per carry than LSU. So that in itself it lets us know, even though we're just kind of doing a little bit more in terms of our run game, we're a little bit better than LSU in that regard. And we need to use our run game to set up those play action opportunities. So those are just some things that I'm noticing as far as the QB and the run game that we kind of need to work on before we head into Baton Rouge. And then as far as our passing, what I noticed too is that we average more yards per pass attempt than LSU, and our passing game is more explosive. So we need to continue with those big passing plays downfield, and continue to feed more than just Ryan Williams. Like, of course, he's a playmaker. We have to utilize him and Jeremy Bernard, but there's no reason why Kendrick Law, Emmanuel Henderson Jr., Kobe Prentice, CJ Dupree, like all these guys, like Caleb Odom, like you cannot justify not throwing the ball to them. How you gonna keep throwing the ball to Williams? Like, you staring him down, that they know who you're about to throw to. You know what I mean? Like, there is no excuse for that. So I would like to see us open up the playbook in terms of more creativity there. And I believe I'm going to, I'm just trying to keep my eye on some of the comments. But like I said, because I see y'all are kind of active now, go ahead and put your answers in the chat. Another thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm going to toss it off to you, Dan, our third down efficiency is actually worse than LSU. We're at about 40%. They're at about 49%. So that's something that we do need to work on as far as sustaining drives and converting on third down. So those are kind of a couple more areas that we may need to focus on. But Dan, I want to get your take in terms of offense. What do you feel like we need to be focused on as far as just our strategy this week in particular?
Right. When your wide receivers getting more targets than your running backs are getting touches, that's usually not a good recipe. Yeah. Especially on the road, we got guys that'll worthy of 20 plus carries a game. You know,
Mhm.
so we got to get the guys, we got to feed the guys, we got to ride them. You know, and you know, I want to comment on what you said about third down. You know, yeah, LSU has a high third down conversion rate, and our problem on defense has been getting out the field on third down. We've improved that,
Exactly.
you know, on that.
True.
But we got to be able to convert offensively. You know, you want to convert first downs on offense. You want to get off the field on third downs on defense. You know, so that's come with staying on schedule on offense and keeping the other team off schedule. And there's a great opportunity for us. You know, in our offense, we got to help out the defense. The way you do that is run the ball.
In all caps. In all caps. I like that. I like that. JB, what about you? What are your thoughts as far as our strategy this week, particularly on offense?
The strategy for me will be execution. You know, let's dial them up. We saw what Nick Sheridan did with a bye week going into the Georgia game. That first quarter was awesome. You know, they dialed it up. Miro was like 15 for 15 or something like that. I can't remember, but he was getting the ball out quickly. He was hitting the tight ends. Everybody was eating. You know, I want to see some of that. And he had design runs where he took the ball and made quick decisions, and he just took off for it. So on top of getting healthy, everybody getting everything they need to get healthy, let's just focus on the execution. Let's dial up good 15, 20 play sets, and let's just keep running them repetition, and until we get it right. You know, for as far as the offense and the O-line, I'm going to challenge the O-line. Tyler Booker, from what I've heard, has took the leadership role and got on everybody behind. So we need the O-line to play like they played this past week, but we need them to play even better because this is a tough environment. I hope they're practicing every day with the music to capacity, loud music, loud crowd noise, because they're going to go into Death Valley. Kalen DeBoer, as far as I know, has never been to Death Valley. These coaches have never been there. So they're gonna have to get it together. We don't need any preset snap penalties. We don't need any false starts or none of that. So especially early on in the game when the crowd is gonna be roaring. So we just need to focus on that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like you said, those the coaches that we have, as far as the coordinators and Kalen DeBoer, I mean, they're not used to that environment. I know they said it was really loud, and when we played Tennessee, but LSU is a whole different level. Yeah, a whole different level. Yeah. And just we talk about offense, but then looking at the defense. So from my perspective, one of the main things that I want to see is us actually leveraging turnovers, right? Because we've been talking about that this entire season. So when you compare Alabama to LSU, we've actually done much better in terms of so say for instance interceptions. I believe we have about 11 on defense. 11 interceptions for over 200 yards. They only have 4. So my thing is these interceptions, they need to equate to some points. Now, whether that means I still want to see some pick sixes. I mean, I know we got it in us. I'm still waiting to see it. Maybe it'll happen next week. I hope so. But we definitely have to leverage those turnovers for sure. And then also controlling the line of scrimmage. That's something that I had as well. I feel like that's something that we are seeing some improvement, but I feel like that real test, and I said this on the post-game show, how we played Missouri is how we kind of expected to play South Carolina coming off the Vandy loss, right? And we still had to work out some kinks. And so I feel like this Tennessee or this LSU matchup is going to kind of be what that Tennessee one was. And we just still were kind of working out some stuff. So hopefully we can do it. But I definitely feel like we need to control the line of scrimmage, be able to stop the run. And then we need to force them to be one-dimensional because that's what Tennessee did to us. And I feel like with LSU, we need to force them to be one-dimensional. Because see, Nussmeier, when he gets on, when he gets going, he can do some damage. So we have to make sure that we force them to be one-dimensional. And then also preventing those big plays. So limiting the plays in the air for the most part. They have about 20 passing touchdowns, more than we do. I think we have about maybe 12 or 13. So, just kind of throwing him off balance, just like Texas A&M did. But I want to get y'all's takes on this, and I'll start with you, JB. So as far as my things, as far as focal points for our defense, leveraging turnovers, controlling the line of scrimmage, and then preventing big plays on as far as their passing game. What are yours? What do you feel like the defense needs to focus on this week?
Tackling. You got to tackle. You got to wrap up. You can't let them break tackles. And then those wide receivers, Lacey, he's a dog. That wide receiver at LSU, somebody got to contain him. The kid who transferred to LSU was at Bama. I think Anderson. I can't think of his first name, but he's been playing pretty good. So and Nuss,
I forgot.
Nussmeier, if he's comfortable, like you mentioned, if he's comfortable, he can play a big game. He's had multiple games over 300 yards passing, and they've been scoring some points. So our secondary is going to get challenged, but I'm challenging also the front line, the defensive line, the tackles, the edge rushers. Y'all got to get there with 4. We can't be sitting. We can't be blitzing and leaving guys back there. And no, it's not going to work. Not with this environment, not with this quarterback and this team. If we can get there with 4, then I'm confident that we can make some plays on the back end. Bend, don't break. They may get some yards, but as long as they're not putting up 7, we can hold them to 3, then we'll be doing a good job.
Yeah, I like that. And like you mentioned Lacey, that wide receiver. He's the type of guy where he's the type that I would say we need to get in his head. And I don't usually say that, but the type of player that he is, I feel like he's the type that you can kind of almost force penalties out of him, if that makes sense. He's the type, he want to be shooting gun, doing all that mess in the air. He's the type to me that you can kind of play on his emotions. I would like to see if we can kind of do that. I mean, I know they're going to be at home, but I feel like I think we can do that. I think we can kind of leverage that to our advantage. Now, Dan, what are your thoughts as far as defense? What are you expecting us to kind of work on this week? And are there any specific things that you would like to see going into the game next week?
Yeah, definitely. LSU, they're gonna put it up in the air a lot. So they have struggled to establish a running game. So like JB said, get pressure with 4. Get pressure. We should be able to do that. Mix up whether it's exotic blitzes or whatever. We should never have to bring in more than 4. We should be able to get to the quarterback, Nussmeier, with 4 guys. On the offensive side, let's clean up penalties. Let's stop shooting ourselves in the foot. I truly believe if we don't turn over the game and the ball and not beat ourselves, we will win going away. I think, let's get Kendrick Law. It's a homecoming for him. Let's get him involved in the game plan.
Yeah.
Louisiana guy, he's going to be dialed in. Let's get him some touches. Let's get him involved in the game, whether it's extended run plays or whatever, jet sweeps, whatever, but, he had one play early in the game this past week where he actually, ran a nice route. I was talking about him not being really a route runner, but he ran a nice route and sat in the zone. And, I was impressed. So he's learning, he's getting better, but we got to find a way to get him involved, whether through script plays or whatever, but let's get him involved and let's definitely not turn over the ball and red zone, let's, keep them out of the red zone. Let's stop when they get in the red zone. Let's not let them score a touchdown. We get in the red zone, we need to be scoring touchdown. So, let's and I think the team that established the run first will win this game.
That's a good point.
Run game, LSU, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in for a long night. But
that's true.
I expect us to come in and take a little air at the ball. Let's still attack and be aggressive.
Yeah. I like that. And I'm curious how healthy Nussmeier is going to be because he got injured. He got a bit banged up by one of his own linemen towards the end of the game last week. And so I'm curious how healthy he's going to be. So that's definitely going to be something. And I remember that they had asked Brian Kelly about that. And he's like, well, we have 3 other quarterbacks, if we need to put them in. So that's something to kind of watch out for. Now, I do believe that we have a super chat and then we have a membership to shout out. So let's see.
Anitra and Don P.
Anitra, shout out to you. Gifted 1 membership. Thank you for spreading the love. And then shout out to Don Parker. Thank you for the super chat. Hope they're treating the bye week like they're coming off of a loss. This team really needs to work on the fundamentals, rest and recover, but intense practices. No big one.
No big word. It's your fault. I cannot get that out my head.
I'm gonna have to watch Friday now. Ain't nothing but a hooch. That movie is a classic. That movie
With
is
the
a
curlers in his hair,
classic.
the hair
Yeah.
rolls in his hair.
No, that was a classic. Okay, well, let's pivot a little bit and just talk about. So I know last week we kind of talked about is Alabama still in the playoff contentions? Of course we are. I mean, it's Alabama. What you mean? I feel like when an Alabama team can find their identity, that's not a question. Even if we have one or two losses, and especially given that I mean, we have 2 before November, but it's a 12-team playoff, so that actually that changes things. Now, a couple things to note, because you think about where we are right now. We moved up one after blowing out Missouri, but then there are some potential upset alerts. I mean, you have Georgia and Florida playing down in Jacksonville. That's going to be a good game. I mean, the Florida that I saw play in Tennessee, I'm like, okay, that's the type of team where kind of like a South Carolina, one of those teams where it's still an SEC opponent, so they may not be ranked, but they can definitely they can knock you off if you're not really paying attention. You have 13 Indiana going at Michigan State. It's a road game, who knows, but then you have Ohio State playing at Penn State, so this could either be the second loss for Ohio State or the first for Penn State, so that's going to be a good one as well. You have Oregon going in playing at Michigan. I kind of see this somewhat as like a not really a redemption game, but kind of like Michigan, they see where they are. They kind of fell off a huge after a so-called national championship, and so I feel like they may have a little bit more to prove in this game. Who knows? But then you have Texas A&M, as good as they are. I got to give them their kudos. They're going to play at South Carolina. That's a night game. That's going to be a good one. That is going to be a good game. Then you have Louisville going at Clemson. That's a night game. Louisville with Ja'Cory Brooks, former Alabama wide receiver. They just, beat Boston. Yeah, he's doing good. They just beat Boston College, I think, at Boston College. And so we have some notable games. So when we talk about is Alabama still in the playoff contention, I'm like, I mean, we kind of on the outside looking in, but everything, you still have some huge matchups to where all it takes is just a few others, maybe losing a game or two, and then us finishing out, strong, and we're in there. So my question to y'all, and I want the chat to answer this as well. What do you all think that we need to do as far as finishing strong? Like, what does that look like? Because we already talked about eliminating the penalties as much as possible, being more disciplined. And of course, that works hand in hand. But then also Milroe, I would like to see him become more accurate in terms of his power. I want to see that consistency, because we know that he can do it, but I think it's that consistency that makes people kind of question, okay, well, can we really make it, because the passing game is a part of it. And I would still like to see Ty Simpson in there at times, maybe have both of them out there, get creative, the play calling, maybe they've been playing it so safe because of the inconsistencies, but I do think that run game, particularly Justice Haynes and Jam Miller, those two, they have to be a part of every game, period. Like, there's no reason why we can't have at least 200 rushing yards on the board, at least. We have to see more wide receivers, but I want to see Caleb Odom, because you can't have a receiver as big as him and as good as he is and not use him. I mean, you just put him out there just to block. That makes no sense. So I want to actually see him have his hands on the ball. Kobe Prentice as well. And then I think we're good. I think the defense, they found their identity. They have Braid. They'll probably get, Keon back towards the end once we, hit the playoffs. But I mean, I think, defense is good. It's just the offense getting the rhythm and being more consistent. So JB, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel as far as, our regular season finishing strong and then, being in a good position to actually make it into the playoffs?
I think we win out, we get in. I mean, we have this big game with LSU, and they're already talking about the loser of that game is going to be out of it. So this is a de facto playoff game, but we have to keep going. We have to keep winning. We got a tricky game with Oklahoma on the road, and then Auburn's coming to town. So you still have to be careful. You can't get too comfortable after one win. We have to stay hungry. And I want us to be hungry like we were hungry to stop Missouri from scoring that touchdown at the end of the game to keep that shutout. They were hungry for that. And they were showing emotion and energy after that. So I want them to be emotional, but don't let it get to your head. Just keep focused on what's in front of you, one game at a time. But really, we have everything in front of us. We're right there in the catbird seat, so to speak. All we have to do is take care of business and let the chips fall where they may. We gonna backdoor Joe in the playoffs. We backdoor Joe in the playoffs this year. We did last year.
We did though. And did y'all notice? But look, did y'all notice each time that something changes in the realm of the Natty, whether it was like BCS going to the college football playoff and then from going to 4 team to a 12 team, it seems like with each transition, we were kind of on the outside looking in when the transition was made, but we still got in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's like a tactic to try to keep the Alabamas and the Georgias out or just to allow more people to get in. But my thing is like, if you're the best, you're the best. Like, you can change it to a 16-team playoff. Alabama would still be in it regardless, so I don't know, but I feel like we have everything that it takes to win. So let's see. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, let me tell you why I hate LSU, because if they would have won last week, this game here would mean a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But we may have had a game day there, but LSU is LSU, and that's the reason they're not Bama, because it means more to us. But
yeah,
we win out. But this win here, this would have been another great win for us on the road at LSU after they beat Texas A&M. But LSU couldn't handle business. LSU did LSU things. But we still gonna need a little help now because of that. But I like it. We got to go in and we got to dominate. We got to dominate, win convincingly. We got to make this game, a show-off game for the committee. But there's no way Alabama is not one of the 12 best teams in the country.
Yeah.
So we got to go out there and prove it. We left no room for error. So we got to win. We got to win convincingly because this is the biggest game left on the schedule so far.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. So this is the one game season coming up.
Yeah.
So we got to take advantage. We got to seize the moment.
And if I remember correctly, I believe the first college football playoff rankings come out that same week after we play LSU. So, that's like the timing of, you know what I mean? But either way, we go in, we beat LSU. A 2-team Alabama is much better than a 1-loss team, depending on who they lost to, because losing to Vanderbilt, you see what type of season they're having right now, losing to Tennessee. So it's kind of like when they start to weigh those strengths of wins versus losses, all that has to be accounted for. Now, I do want to jump over to our chat. Well, we have the Q&A segment. So any specific questions that y'all have? I know that y'all been putting in the chat throughout the
feed them to me.
Oh God. Okay, here we go with Auburn. I know. Here he go. Look, they got their 3rd win of the season, and now he got to show up. Like, oh my gosh, we beat Kentucky. Like, dude, the 3rd win. Okay. Who do you think is going to intercept a mirror pass if they're off this weekend? Now, I started to say your mama, but I try to stay away from that. Like the old me would have.
We need Linda P here to answer that.
I know, because normally she in the chat saying your mom. No, the old me would have just said your mama. But Chris, this is the thing.
Chris like
you're over. Like what? Like. I mean, y'all dismissed Antonio Kite today. Y'all are not in a position to dismiss anybody. Y'all need to be grateful for what you have and keep who you have. Like, who you think you are dismissing somebody? Like,
Chris, why do you do this to yourself, man? Really?
Who you think gonna intercept a mirror pass? Your mama.
Oh my goodness.
Always in that chat. Got something to say. Y'all up there celebrating a 3-win season. Come on now, really.
They need 3 more to make the Pop-Tart Bowl. They can't even get to the Birmingham Bowl. They need 3 more wins.
You go get mollywopped.
They are gonna get mollywopped, get curb stomped. What they
Vanderbilt gonna slaughter them.
They gonna be in the EBT card bowl.
They probably will be. They raggedy self. Always
they're gonna get denied. They're gonna get denied.
Yeah.
Oh, they just what other questions? I know what other, because I know he had a few of them in the chat, but they're not even like worth addressing. So toughest Nell, shout out to you. Dan, what is your opinion on Jordan Renard? What you think about it?
Hey, okay.
Man, something serious.
Listen, I'm liking toughest Nell. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Jordan Renard. In his snap, he has a high hit ratio of affecting the quarterback when in the few snaps that he's getting. He's getting in and he's affecting the play when he's in. So yeah, he has a lot of wins winning reps when he's out there. So you know, you got to find a way to get him more involved in. And that comes from losing guys like Jaheim Otis, so it allows other guys to step up, and I think that worked out for Bama in a big way. So yeah, you want guys that been paying their due, working hard to get in there, and when they get the opportunity to seize it, and that he's a clear example of that. A guy that got his opportunity and now he's taking advantage of it. That's why you got to love what Jordan Renard is doing.
Yeah. He's showing up big. Shout out to Michael Fields. I started calling you Michael Phelps. Michael Fields. What happened to Kirkpatrick Jr.? Heard all spring that he was making noise, but I haven't seen him on the field.
He was out there against Missouri on that last drive.
He was. And let me tell you about this guy, man. My favorite film of all the commits in the 2024 class. I watched this guy like, no, man, this can't all be in one season. All these plays the guy's making. And sure enough, they were.
Sure enough.
Like, wow, no way anybody had this many plays like this many highlights in one season. It was just ridiculous, the stuff that the guy was doing. So actually, that's another guy when we were naming punt returners last night. That's another guy that, I would like to see like that. But this guy, he is awesome. He is immaculate with the ball in his hand.
Like father, like son.
Yeah.
Playmaker.
I mean, yeah. Shout out to Brian Russell. It's important we get some clean shots on Nussmeier. I'm telling y'all, this guy will try to carve us up. Like I said, what I saw was an injured quarterback trying to finish the game against Texas A&M through at least 3 interceptions. I mean, they had him razzled. We talk about was Texas A&M the blueprint to some regard. They kind of were. We probably need to kind of go back and look at what they did because he can try to carve us up. He ain't gonna be carving too much. What are y'all thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Send some exotic blitzes, but there's no need to send 5-6 guys. We can send 4. We got to, don't get no cheap shots. Like he say, clean shots, don't, because the referee's going to be in their back pocket down there in Death Valley. So don't even try to hit them up high. Don't even try to hit them up high because you already know.
Hands to the face, none of that. Yeah.
And don't y'all, like, so many third downs we've had, and it's been like a hand to the face or unsportsmanlike or something that nullify and cause a first down for the other team. We've had so many of those this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And watch out for Mason Taylor. They're going to try to get this guy involved early. I can guarantee that there's going to be their game plan to get Mason Taylor involved.
Tight end.
So we have to watch out for that early in the game.
Yeah. I mean, getting the momentum on our side and just shaking up Nussmeier, that's going to be key. Because I don't know, their backups. I mean, Brian Kelly is saying that, if they put in a backup, he would be good to go. He'll be ready to go. But it's like a game like that. It's easy to say. That's easy to say when you see him in practice. But a game that big, I mean, I ain't.
They didn't work out for Wisconsin and work out for Missouri. It's not going to work.
He ain't got no backups.
Nah.
He said he had 3. Okay. Shout out to Colin. Offensive play calling got me questioning stuff last 2 games. I know. And it's crazy because we saw good things, like a month ago, you played Georgia, you see, we were able to open up the playbook against Georgia. And then now it's just, and my thing is like Sheridan. How do you get away from what's working? As soon as we start running the ball and we look like somebody, he changes it. If he would do better just coaching the quarterbacks, let DeBoer call the offensive plays. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he may have this past week.
I was wondering that. Do y'all think he was?
I think so.
I've been hearing that.
He was a few times. He was like this on the sideline. So
yeah, I mean, but pull a Lane Kiffin, right? If you have to take, because he's an offensive mind anyway. And you got Womack and his dad out there. His dad ready to run on the field. So my thing is like, at the end of the day, do whatever it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? Like if Sheridan ain't got if he wants to act like he doesn't know what to call and win, let DeBoer call the plays. I mean, look. We can't afford to lose another game. That's all I got to say about that. Michael Fields. Michael Fields, how much has Milroe really improved? I get he's had different OCs, but what work is he doing on his own?
Good question.
Can I buy a vowel? Everybody's quiet.
I plead the fizzy.
No. I don't know. I mean, and that's the thing, because was it Sheridan that was saying that he was in, he'll show up really early and all of that. I mean, we really don't know, my big
We only
thing
know
with
what the coaches tell us. They only tell us so much.
Yeah, and it's one thing to look a certain way in practice, but then out on that field, I mean, Tennessee, like, that was a huge opportunity for us. I mean, that was to the point where we could have easily been up 28-0 at halftime, to where even if we would have beat them, even if we would have lost to LSU, we would have still been in the run for the 12 team. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, we folded. We literally folded our hand and slapped it on the table with the losing hand, with that raggedy offensive play calling that we had, them ridiculous balls that Milroe was throwing. I'm like, sir, who are you throwing to? I mean, where was he? What? I mean, it was so frustrating. I'm like, okay, Milroe, like, you have people that want to, like, just be down for you 100%, but it's the inconsistency. So I don't know, Michael. I don't know how to answer that question, but yeah, but you know what? I feel like he has it in him. We've seen it. It's just the consistencies, and I think it's the confidence as well. Because what I noticed was him, and when he gets rattled, especially if it's an away game, that confidence is gone. We saw it against Vanderbilt. We saw it against Tennessee. And my thing is, since this is another huge away game, even if by chance he happens to get shaken up a little bit, he needs to be able to, as a leader with that C on his chest, on his shirt, he needs to be able to stay in the game. I mean, you have to do it for your, at least for your team, So I hope that answered the question. Shout out to Curtis. I heard that DeBoer start calling the plays instead of Sheridan. Is that true? I mean,
we've heard that. I don't know if it's true, but we've heard that also.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't care who called it, as long as it's effective and we're getting points, because that was a pretty big difference that we saw in terms of the running, and we saw
the second half of the last game. Yeah. That what got me thinking. Watch the second half.
Yeah. Possibly. Shout out to James Knox. OC being as uber grand in run game for the running backs as quarterback and passing game. She let Emmanuel Henderson eat. That's what I'm saying. E-Man is that man. Like, it's literally it's so annoying. Like, we know that they're good. Like, right. I don't care that this is DeBoer and the coordinator's first year there. I'm like, I know y'all watched Alabama last year. Y'all know what we're about. Like, don't play with us. Don't act like y'all didn't know what we were on. E-Man has been at Alabama for the last 2 to 3 years.
Year 3, I think.
Yeah. Just like Prentice and Law. So these guys, they've been doing anything
on the team. Yeah, we got to get them involved.
And see, with my thing with Milroe, though, he's been here around this about the same amount of time as them, right? E-Man, Prentice, so he should already So he should already have some of that chemistry there. That's the thing that kind of, I don't know. I believe that chemistry should already be there, but I think that he feels more comfortable, if you will, with Bernard and Ryan Williams, and I don't know why these guys that's been there, why that's not there. But yeah, E-Man's that man, so he definitely got to eat. He got to eat. Why is the offense so bad on third downs? Well, we're hoping for a change, Michael. We're hoping for a change.
I can answer that. I can answer that because we're so bad on first and second down. That's why we're staying long way too much.
Well,
that's what it is. So if you keep it third and manageable, we wouldn't be as bad. But we're losing first and second down. That's why we're so bad on third down.
But see, that goes back to what we said, JB, right? Run the freaking ball. So at least you're in a good position to where if it is a 3rd and 5, or you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't even starting we're not even starting the downs off right,
You can run the ball on a 3rd and 3. I mean, it's not as predictable as a 3rd and 6, where they know you're probably going to pass the ball, most likely. So
yeah. Shout out to the Christopher. Which running back would have the most rushing yards?
Good question. Whoever had the most touches.
That's true. I mean, because when you look at Jam and Justice, they're different, right? Different style runners. but they're both equally as effective. It's just that we haven't been able to see Haynes as much because of the ridiculous play calling. And I do believe there's been some ball hogging going on there, but we ain't gonna go down that path. But honestly, I mean, I feel like it's gonna be a toss-up. But at the end of the day, I think the numbers are gonna be comparable, if you will, like we were saying earlier. And I think you said it. I want to say you said it, JB, that either you or Dan, that they need to have at least 13 to 15 touches each.
Yeah.
So I don't know what those numbers are going to look like, but I think it's going to be relatively.
Yeah. And it don't have to be all runs. They can catch the ball a couple times out the backfield as well. Just put the ball in their hand, let them make plays.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And LSU's defense, that's susceptible to big plays. You know, so
True.
You know, let's get the guys the ball early, quick. You know, and let's attack. Let them make the plays. You know, we don't have to get it all through the air like that, but let's get the ball to them and let them play. Let's put pressure on the defense to make tackles.
Yeah, I think we need to work in those tight ends more too.
Right.
Until Pritchett can get more stable on that right side, keep Robbie Oates out there.
He's the best blocker on the team besides
he is.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, keep Robbie right out there to his right. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, it's just we see some of the same things. You know, people are saying that Kobe Prentice was dropping the balls a bit. I feel like Kobe Prentice. I feel like those balls, the ones that he dropped in the Missouri game, to me, I think it has to do with that Vandy game, right? Like just kind of being thrown off balance to some degree. I don't know, but that's not the Kobe Prentice that we know. So,
that's his worst game, I believe, though.
Yeah, getting shaken up. And then Christopher, which Bama defensive player will have an interception?
Good question.
Which one won't?
The money.
You say the money. Okay.
I'm gonna say Malachi having one for the third game in a row because he done had an interception in the past 2 games, I believe.
I feel like maybe Bray.
Might
you get another one? Yeah.
With the way he's been, you know, and just that dog and how people's been kind of, you know, just rallying behind him and the way he just came in and just, you know, he's owning that position right now. I feel like he might end up getting one, but I want to see a pick 6, and I don't care which one of our players get it. I want to see us get a pick 6. Yeah. All right. And then Ray Parham, do you think that Milroe has been playing hurt? I noticed a lack of burst on his runs recently. Well, I heard a reporter was saying that they asked him, they mentioned that to him, and he was saying that he's fine. You know, a lot of people have been asking that, but he's been saying that he's fine. So,
well, you never want to admit that you're hurting if you're a professional athlete, unless you're injured. Now, if he was injured, he would be on the injury report because they have to report that. So, I mean, you know, him hurting and being in pain, he's a tough guy. You know, he's never going to admit that. So
that's true.
But I have seen the lack of burst. I have seen that even on this touchdown run against Missouri when he cut. It was like a broken play. He cut field and he barely got to the pylon. The Milroe a few weeks ago would have just outran the guy and got in there untouched.
Man, I caught a Charlie horse getting up out the bed this morning. I ain't let anybody know it though. It's my birth today.
That's called getting old.
Oh gosh, I bet it did. Okay, that'll do it for. That'll do it for the Q&A. Those are really good questions, though. Look, we're gonna dive a bit deeper next week for sure, leading up to the game. Maybe have specific players. Y'all know most of them anyway. We've already kind of named some of them on for LSU, but I think at that point too, we'll know more in terms of injuries. You know, the injury report, because that Texas A&M game, a couple of them were pretty banged up. So we'll kind of know a bit more at that point. But those are really good questions. So we'll end it here then, and what we'll do, we do have Teeks Take tonight at 8:15 Central Standard Time, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we do not have a post-game show this Saturday, but of course, we'll be back doing that next week after the game immediately.
Let's do one if Auburn lose.
Hey, who they play this weekend?
Auburn roast session.
They got
who they play this weekend? Virginia College.
Vandy.
And do they play at home or they play at Vandy?
I think they play at Vandy. Let's go on and see if Chris Williams will show up.
Cause he quiet now.
No, Chris, you need to send us the link to the Auburn post game show so we can tap in.
What's the name of the show?
They can be playing on Peacock probably.
Hey, they got them on Tubi.
on
Oh,
Crackle.
raggedy stuff.
They're gonna stream their game on Crackle.
Exactly. They like, you know what, y'all don't even worry about it. Just check in on ESPN website. We'll have a score. It ain't even worth watching.
It ain't worth watching.
No, it's not worth watching. All right. Well, do y'all have any other shows that you want to promote, and then any social media? Dan, I'll kick it off with you.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, catch me on X at the Final Whistle Dan. Tuesday nights, right here on this very channel, the Final Whistle, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Wednesday nights with this lovely cast, this awesome cast right here, the Crimson Dynasty. Every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central. Y'all hit that like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone involved. Thank you for your questions. You know, it gives me something to do. Keep my little mind tinkling. You know, so I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a wonderful week. Y'all, let's get some rest along with Bama. You know, let's get better. Let's get ready for LSU.
And then and let them know about that Auburn post game show that you're gonna be doing.
Oh yeah, let them know about that. Yeah, you know, me and Chris Williams are gonna be hosting Auburn Live Big Cat post game show.
Not Big Cat. Hey, look, he got quiet ever since he asked how many interceptions Milroe gonna throw. He said, who gonna throw it to? I said, your mama. He quiet now.
You really feel it.
That's
he cut out early tonight. Chris cut out early tonight.
He should go ahead and wrap it up. Go ahead and get your Tubi subscription so you can watch your little raggedy game against Vanderbilt with Peyton Thorne throwing 4 interceptions. Like what?
Yeah, they showing it on Pluto.
On Pluto. Subscription $2.99 annual. All right.
Dofu Sports.
Huh?
Dofu Sports.
I know. Look. Go to the grocery store in Auburn. You know how, you go to Tuscaloosa, everything's sold out, right? Everybody getting ready for it. And I know I don't see Florida State they literally wait until the end. They always, just like they do when they play, right? They wait to the end to try to show up, and it's a day late and $1 short. Like, Florida State, please be quiet. Didn't they lose another game this past weekend? They played Miami, right?
They lose, they got embarrassed.
They got their ass whooped. Yeah.
Y'all only lost one. Y'all only won one game so far. Is it just one?
Yeah.
They're like 1-7, 1-8, something like that.
That's
pathetic.
That's pathetic.
And no, you can keep our guys.
Y'all go from 13-1 to 1-13. How you do that?
And then wanted to cry about, we being left out from the playoffs. Like you supposed to be there. And you sit up there and got
left out this year too. At least you're consistent.
I know. Hey, and then set up there and got
start roasting FSU.
When they ragging and stuff, they're gonna wait to the end of the show. He always wait to the end of the show to say something.
Yeah. Stick a spear in them because they done.
Wait, what? I don't even know what he's talking about. Like, see, that's the thing. It's like y'all just need to kind of sit back and just watch. Like Trump said a few years ago, just stand by and watch. So y'all need to sit back and just watch. Y'all have you got Auburn on Tubi, and you got Florida State on what? Nick at Night.
It's crazy.
Oh goodness, y'all don't even need a bye week because it ain't gonna help.
Man, y'all be running the ACC, right?
I know. Hey, maybe that's why they wanted to leave. They were so eager to leave because they knew they weren't gonna win anything.
They'll probably do better if they move to a better conference like the Sun Belt.
How about the AAC?
I know. Who did they win? What was that one win? Who was that they played?
Cal, wasn't it Cal? It was an upset.
I think it was Cal. They upset Cal. Yeah.
You talking about the Cal that beat Auburn?
Yeah.
Yep.
The Cal that Auburn threw 4 interceptions.
They barely won that game.
Yeah.
Oh, they lost to Cal. Who did they beat?
Auburn lost. Auburn lost to Cal.
Yeah.
I think Peyton threw 3 or 4 interceptions in that game, right?
Yeah, Auburn gave him the blueprint. Don't throw interceptions.
Man, no. Florida State, they beat a SWAC school. I'm trying to think what school they beat. They beat FAMU. I think that was the only game they
beat Cal. I know let me see. I know they beat Cal.
They
only got one win, so it's one or the other. It ain't both. It's either or. It's not and.
They lost they beat FAMU. I believe they beat FAMU. Did they play FAMU or was that Miami? It was somebody they beat.
It might have
Miami
been.
beat FAMU.
Okay, so
Interesting. Yeah, I think we
know
ran. Florida State isn't allowed to play FAMU. Well, y'all would have done well if y'all played them. He would at least have.
This is brutal.
No, they would have lost to FAMU. They beat Cal 14-9. Okay,
Yeah, that's
barely.
That's crazy.
Barely. Just ridiculous.
Man.
Okay.
Man, 42-6 to SMU. Man, get out of our chat. Bye. Good night.
Control Alt Delete. Get your man. Look, ball the paper. I'm just throwing. Like what you do? But see, that's exactly why he waits until the very end. Just
take that out of here, man.
That is hilarious.
He
didn't look. Hey, he didn't want to answer any of the questions. He just said, "Oh, we can't play FAMU." He didn't answer the question though, because he already knew. Didn't lose to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you can't play FAMU. They don't want to mess up their strength of schedule.
Look. He said, but we didn't lose to Vanderbilt,
they
sir.
Play Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt would dog walk y'all. You don't want to play them. Come on now.
But no, you did lose too. Damn near everybody.
I know. And then you have, what's his name? Uyagalele just throwing the ball like he mad. Like he just throwing the ball like I don't want to be out here in the first place. I mean, y'all just.
All the money y'all spending to lose.
They're going to ask for a refund.
You know who's going to come out in the red? when the spring reports come out. Going to be FSU.
I know. Hey, and then they up there hollering, talking about they wanna get rid of Norvell. It's like y'all weren't saying that when y'all were crying about not being in the top 4. You know, where's Ron DeSantis now? Putting up a
guess who NIL budget getting cut?
Exactly. No more in-home.
Y'all have to go to selling them candy boxes that you do in high school.
Exactly.
Get them
candy box and donut.
Hey,
get some donut. Do a donut wrap.
You remember the hot fries? The little packs of hot fries.
Sell them Florida oranges.
Not the Florida oranges.
Man, y'all got that vote to FSU. Hey, D, what are you thinking, man? You shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Now you done got us all on FSU, man.
Hey,
Why we
got the little bag of hot fries and that little black bag of white cheddar popcorn. Selling at 50 cents, raising the NIL fund. Name, injury, and like
that dollar candy.
He like, y'all know about selling them
like
candy.
Almonds, or would you like the crispy rice?
Exactly, not with the caramel inside. Y'all are fun to roast. Y'all have a lot of audacity and a lot of L's to go with it. So. Just horrible. Well, JB, I think we left off on you. Do you have any other shows or social media? Yes, sir. JB, don't do a Richardson at Indy and tell the media you tired.
Oh no, yeah. I was saying, speaking about Miro, don't tell nobody you're hurt.
Okay,
like Richardson did at it, and with the Colts, he said he was tired, and they done benched him. He out. You tired? Sit your ass on the bench.
Stay tired, bro.
We're gonna put the photo out there. Put Flacco out there.
Tell them the state of Mississippi.
But anyway, y'all find me on X, Twitter X, young_ENT_ on IG, Sports Talk JB, the YouTube channel Sports Talking with JB, and on Sunday night Talking Bama with JT, Stephen M. Smith. We turn up every Sunday night, and right here with the Crimson Dynasty crew every Wednesday. That's where y'all can find me.
All right, you gonna be on that Auburn post game show this weekend or Florida State?
No, I don't know who's game gonna be on this weekend.
You probably get on that Florida State post game. You probably have 2 viewers.
And it won't even be fans because they so done with Florida State. That sounds like a sure audacity and L's. I tell them all the time they have more L's than Lululemon. I mean, now that could be an NIL partnership. I mean, possibly.
They do have more L's than Lululemon.
They do. I'm just saying more L's than Lululemon. I mean, and I'm trying to help y'all. I know y'all gonna need to build up the NIL fund. They want some of that candy corn. Exactly. Trick or treat. Like trick or treat would be.
It's the same as school colors. That's why they like that candy corn. Same color, the school color, and same color Auburn fan tee.
Y'all in the same boat. It's horrible. Okay, well, you can find me. I will not be on any type of Auburn or disgusting Florida State post-game show. I mean, they really shouldn't even. I hadn't even seen any shows regarding them.
What are they? Why you won't get them? Because they what? Raggedy.
Because they raggedy.
They raggedy.
Raggedy through and through, just like the city they in, just raggedy. Ain't got nothing to offer the world of college sports. Like, come on. Dang, that's cool. It is. Shout out to Teague's Take. Like we said, be sure to stay on the Bama Center Network here on YouTube. They're going to go live in about 25 minutes right here, Teague's Take. So I don't know if they're going to go in on the Florida State and Auburn fans, but we got to show love because they the loudest ones in the room. So, and they the weakest ones in the room. So, we had to set Chris straight, and he done ran out of the chat. So, and I think Ed done ran out too. So.
Gone too, I guess.
And well, you told him to. You told him to get out.
She always run them out the chat.
Look, I try to tell them, like, y'all can play those games elsewhere. You're not gonna play them over here because at the end of the day, we're still that standard. Georgia, no, they can say what they want. Who got that W though? Who got that W a few weeks ago? That's all I'm saying. I mean, okay. Now y'all can you can find me on X, more losses, whatever. Anyway, Florida State, get that bitterness out of our chat, just like y'all were bitter because y'all didn't make it in the top 4. You ain't gonna make it in the top 12. I mean, they expanded the playoffs for y'all. Y'all were crying. They expanded. I mean, you still can't make it. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Florida State just. Find me on X official Sishi without the apostrophe. And then you can find me on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence. I will not be on any post-game shows unless it's Alabama, unless it's for the winners. We don't do losers. So, shout out to Teague's Take. Proctor enrolled more times to Bama than Georgia has beaten Alabama in 10 years.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow. That's the fact of the year.
What'd you say, Dan? Hey, Dan, every week since you had that wallpaper, that elephant has meant something different. What that mean to you this week?
I'm riding it in the Baton Rouge down in the bayou. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to step in no gator dung. You know what I'm saying? So that's my ride to Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, be sure to tune in to Crimson Dynasty next week. We're going to really do a deep dive into our matchup with LSU. But without further ado, y'all be safe. And y'all gotta, we still got a link. And like we said, it ain't letting the naysayers know. Y'all know what it mean over here. Y'all know what it mean over here. Like we had to do Chris and Ed. So y'all be safe. And
Ed's still chirping. He in his feelings.
Look, he was in his feelings when they got left out of the top 4. He was in his feelings when Georgia blew them out by 60. When all the Florida State players decided to opt out because they didn't want that smoke, right? I mean, come on.
Well, guess what? They ain't got to worry about opting out now. You ain't got to worry about no opt out because you ain't getting in.
Because it's y'all involuntarily opting out this time. It's not voluntary. They're like, look, y'all don't even have to worry about it. The playoff committee like, look, don't contact us. We try to give y'all a chance. We expanded it to 12. You still can't make it. So no.
You had the nerve to think we wanted y'all as coach.
I know.
I'm disgusted.
And y'all don't even want him. Come on now.
They opted out after they lost to Bill O'Brien and he took that mercy knee on the goal line. That Boston College game. That's when they opted out.
Now go on.
Exactly.
Back to your little kiddie table. Go on now. Yeah.
Hey, like we like to tell them, this a grown-ups this the grown-ups table, going over there to that kiddie table with your Lunchable and your Capri Sun, sir. I know.
That's what you are. You're a fly.
I guess Lank in this situation means let a Noel know because that's what you're doing right now.
I guess so. Look, okay. All right. Well, it's gonna have a different meaning each week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will. All right. Well, I guess that's enough.
We're a championship program, buddy. We're a championship program.
Look, you come to watch us, sir. We don't come to watch y'all. Y'all ain't got nothing to watch. Y'all don't even show up in the highlights for ESPN. I mean, come on. Y'all come to watch. You come to watch our show, and we appreciate it. But at the end of the day, y'all know we're the standard. Y'all want to hear what we have going on because you have nothing going on. That one win, we couldn't even figure out who you beat. It's just that bad. Like y'all are. worse than Auburn. Like that says a lot. That really says a lot. So anywho, well, I hope y'all have a blessed night.
There's two things I ain't never seen. You know what I'm saying?
What?
One of them is a Florida State fan that I like. You know what the other one is? A UFO.
A UFO. Exactly. And we're going to have an acronym for that too. Let a no. Because I mess around and say the other one. FSU stand for Funky State University. It really does. It really does. All right, y'all. Well, it's been a good one. We're gonna leave the roasting session here for now, you know. So see, we ran off Chris.
They tried to get Coach Pran, but Coach Pran don't want to take that step down.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll definitely be a taking a step down for him going down there. I mean, even Colorado. I mean, everybody's doing better than them.
Ain't even step up no more, man. This is a disaster. The whole conference.
He's got a vibe.
You done did this to me. You done got me out of character. And I'm a Christian, man.
I know.
Don't get it twisted. Don't come on here talking that foolishness about FSU. Auburn one thing, but FSU, come on, man.
Right. Look, don't even enter the chat. Just watch. All right. Huh?
Come stay in the weight class.
I know. Or get your weight up, and it's too late for that. So, Nah, Coach Prime, like, come on now. Y'all see me on what is it? Aflac? He's like, I wish I would. He won't look, if he was down there in Florida State, he wouldn't be on no Aflac commercials. Y'all messing up business for him. He's like, absolutely not.
Y'all done ruined some careers down there in Tallahassee.
Exactly. Roydell's like, man. All right, y'all. No, this has been fun. Well, I'm glad Ed has learned his lesson. So we'll catch y'all next week. Roll Tide, roll, and Lank, and we'll see y'all next week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Don't give them.